Good morning, all of you. Just we will wait for 2 minutes because only few students are here. We will wait for 2 minutes, and after that we will start. असं थोडा तो प्रॉब्लेम आहे त्यात. ओके. नाही, मी तसं मॅडमला मी मेसेज केला. नाही, दुपारी पण कसं असते, दुपारी माझा इथला लोड आहे सर तुमच्या कॉलेजचा. हा. इथला. हो, हो.
Now, good morning, all of you. Now, is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last lecture, we have discussed regarding with this fold and its types, etc. Okay. Now, today we are going to discuss the next important structure present in the rock, and that structure is considered as a fault. Okay. So, in the rocks, I have told you that the different structures are there, like fold, fault, joint, unconformity, etc. Okay. Now we have discussed regarding with the fold. We have understand very well fold, what is the meaning of fold, how these folds are formed. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss what is the meaning of fault and its types. Okay. Now just wait, I have to share the whiteboard with you. Just wait. Okay. Now, suppose here I'm drawing. Suppose these are the horizontal layers present in the rock. Okay. So these are the different horizontal layers present in the rock. Suppose the force is acting from both the sides. Suppose from this side and this side, the force is acting on this horizontal type of the horizontal rocks. Now, after applying force from two opposite sides, what will happen? That we have discussed. Okay. Now, these horizontal rocks are converted into such a fold-like structure after applying the forces from two opposite sides. These horizontal rocks are converted into these fold-like structures. Okay. So this is the theory behind the formation of the folds in the rock. Now, same horizontal rocks are there. Just wait. Suppose suppose these are the now this is the rock, and this rock having these horizontal layers in it. Okay. So this is the first layer, this is the second layer, this is the third layer, and this one is the fourth layer. Okay. Now here forces is acting, but here the forces is acting, but they are from, suppose the forces now acting at this place, okay, and at this place in this horizontal rock. Okay. Now what will happen to these horizontal layered rocks? What will be the result? What will be the result when the forces are acting like this? Is there any idea? Just a minute, I will show you what will happen to these rocks. So these rocks we rotate like this. So this is the third layer, and this is the fourth layer. Okay, so this is the first, this is the second layer, this is the third layer, and this is the fourth layer. Okay, is it right? Have you understand? So after applying forces at this end and at this end, these horizontal rocks may converted into this structure. Means this left hand side goes downward, means due to this pressure, this left side goes downward, and due to this pressure, this right side goes upward. So ultimately, these horizontal rocks are converted into this form. Okay. Now, till the pressure is active, means again pressure is applied at same place. What will happen? What will happen? If the pressure continues in same direction, there will be formation of crack in between these layers. Okay, one vertical crack will be developed in this vertical layer, and again these rocks or these horizontal layers may converted like this, means this is the, okay, suppose these are the layers, means this is the first layer, this is the second layer, this is the third layer, this one is the fourth layer, again this is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth layer. So due to applying pressure at same places, the rocks in that horizontal sequence may converted into this structure, means two separate blocks are formed. One block goes downward direction and one block goes towards the upward direction. Okay, so this phenomenon is considered as a faulting, means when pressure is applying at the both the ends in opposite direction, first that rocks are converted into fold like structure, still the forces are acting, the one fracture will be developed in these horizontal rocks vertically, and these one horizontal series is converted into two separate blocks. One block moves upward direction, one block moves towards the downward direction, and the movement in these horizontal rocks is considered as a fault. Okay, so this movement in the horizontal rock is considered as a faulting. Have you understand now what is the meaning of fault? Now I will show you the examples of the fault. Just a minute. So the fault means this unfaulted blocks means if the fracture is there, two separate rocks are there. When the pressure is applied on these blocks, means here the pressure is applied at this direction. Here the pressure is applied on this block in this opposite direction. That's why these green blocks move upward direction. The blue blocks move towards the downward direction. So this structure is considered as a fault. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of fault? Okay, that we have to know. Fault means the fracture in a rock along which the block has moved relative to each other and parallel to the plane of fracture is called as a fault. Simple definition आहे. Fault म्हणजे काय? It is a fracture. Fracture means crack. In simple language, the meaning of fracture is the crack. Now, from this crack, what will happen? One rock can be converted into two blocks. One rock is converted into two blocks, and that blocks are moved relative to each other. There will be movement in these two blocks relative to each other. Now, what is the meaning of relative to each other? Means one block moves upward direction, one block moves towards the downward direction, opposite direction movement will be there, and they are parallel to the plane of fracture. Okay, plane of fracture means that area. Suppose here I will show you which is the plane of fracture here. So this area means on this side where the blocks are moved to that side is considered as a fault plane, or it is also considered as a plane of fracture. So that block movement is parallel to the fault plane or plane of fracture. So this structure is considered as a fault. Now, in the initial stage of the fold, we have discussed the different parts of the fold. Okay, like fold axis, fold plane, then core, crest, trub, hinge, etc. that we have discussed in the fold. Likewise, here in the fault, different parts are there for that fault, and that part we have to discuss now. Okay, or terms. That part is also considered as a terms used in the fault. Okay, fault मध्ये ज्या टर्म्स यूज केल्या जातात त्या टर्म्स आपल्याला या ठिकाणी काय करायचे आहेत आता स्टडी करायचे आहेत. ओके, now in the fault, the first term is the fault plane. Okay, fault plane. Fault plane means the fracture along which the fracture surface along which the two blocks have displaced with respect to each other. That fracture plane or fracture side is considered as a fault plane. Okay, so here I have shown you that the fault plane. Okay, so this side means this side where the blocks are moved relative to each other. Okay, ही साइड आहे आणि या साइड वरती काय झालेले आहे, दोन ब्लॉक एकमेकाच्या रिलेटिव्ह मुवमेंट झालेली तुम्हाला बघायला मिळते. एक ब्लॉक इकडे लेफ्ट साइडचा वरती गेलेला आहे, एक ब्लॉक या ठिकाणी राईट हँड साइडचा खाली आलेला आहे. ओके, सो दिस साइड is considered as a fault plane along which we can see the movement between two different blocks. Okay, so this is the fault plane. Now another parts are there. Head. The next is the head. The angle of inclination of fault plane measured from the vertical is known as the head. Okay, म्हणजे या fault plane शी तयार झालेला जो अँगल असतो, that angle is considered as a head angle. Now here just a minute, I will show you where is the head angle. So here this angle is considered as a head angle. आता या ठिकाणी जो ब्राऊन कलर मध्ये मी मार्क केलेला आहे हा या ठिकाणी हेड अँगल म्हणून कन्सिडर केला जातो. द अँगल फॉर्म्ड by the fault plane to the horizontal layer. Okay, fault plane or horizontal layer शी तयार केलेला जो अँगल असतो that angle is considered as a head angle. Okay, now next part is the hanging wall and footwall. Hanging wall means the two blocks are formed in the fault. Always remember that two blocks are formed in the fault. So that two blocks, in that two blocks, one block is considered as a hanging wall and another block is considered as a footwall. So here, this right hand side block is the hanging wall and this left hand side block is the footwall. Okay. So what is the meaning of hanging wall? The meaning of hanging wall is that the block which rests above the fault plane, the block which rests above the fault plane, that block is considered as a hanging wall, and the block which remains below the fault plane, that block is considered as a footwall. Okay, have you understand the meaning of hanging wall? Hanging wall means the block which rests above the fault plane. Fault plane च्या वरती जो राहिलेला पार्ट असतो, ब्लॉक असतो, त्या ब्लॉकला काय म्हटलं जातं? हँगिंग वॉल म्हटलं जातं. म्हणजे या ठिकाणी ही जर तुम्ही फॉल्ट प्लेन कन्सिडर केली, ओके, सो दिस इज दी फॉल्ट प्लेन. ओके, आता या फॉल्ट प्लेनच्या वरती कोणता ब्लॉक आहे? तर हा ब्लॉक जो आहे तो वरती आहे. ओके, सो दिस ब्लॉक इज कन्सिडर्ड एज ए हँगिंग वॉल अँड द ब्लॉक विच इज बिलो दी फॉल्ट प्लेन. ओके, या फॉल्ट प्लेनच्या खाली हा ब्लॉक राहिलेला आहे. दॅट्स वाय दिस ब्लॉक इज कन्सिडर्ड एज ए फुटवॉल. द ब्लॉक विच रिमेन्स बिलो दी fault plane, that block is considered as a footwall. Okay, so two different blocks are there. Hanging wall means block above the fault plane, footwall means the block below the fault plane. Now the next are the up throw side and down throw side. Up throw and down throw. Okay, so just wait, I will show you here up throw side and down throw side. Now up throw side means the side which moves upward direction. The side which moves in upward direction, that side is considered as a up throw side, and the side which moves downward direction, or the block which moves towards the downward direction, that block or that side is considered as a down throw side. Simple meaning is there. Up throw means which move upward direction, down throw side which moves downward direction. Okay, so this is the difference between up throw side and down throw side. Okay, now here we have to know the another term. That terms are throw, then heave and slip. Throw, heave and slip. Now what is the meaning of throw, heave and slip? Now here have you seen here, this is the heave, this is the throw, and this is the slip. Okay, heave, throw and slip, these are the three distances in the fault. Okay, just a minute, I will explain you what is the meaning of throw, what is the meaning of heave, and what is the meaning of slip. Now heave is the horizontal displacement of the block. Okay, heave is the horizontal displacement of the block. Throw is the vertical displacement of the block, and slip is the oblique or relative displacement in between two blocks. That oblique displacement is considered as a slip. Okay, म्हणजे काय, तर सुरुवातीला हे जे ब्लॉक असणार आहेत खाली गेलेला हा हँगिंग वॉलचा तो वरती असणार आहे. आता तो ज्यावेळेस खाली सरकतो त्यावेळेस त्या ठिकाणी 3 डिस्टन्सेस तयार होतात. ओके, 3 distances are formed. That distances, just wait, I will show you. So this is the first horizontal distance in between two blocks. That horizontal distance which I have marked here in the red color, that horizontal distance is considered as a hue. Due to movement in two blocks, the blocks are moved vertically also relative to each other. एकमेकाच्या रिलेटिव्ह मध्ये ते दोन ब्लॉक व्हर्टिकली सुद्धा मूव्ह होतात. म्हणजे कसं, आता या ठिकाणी जर बघितलं तर मी या ठिकाणी वेगळा कलर यूज करतो. जस्ट वेट, आय विल यूज दी सेपरेट कलर हियर. So here you can see that this is the purple line here in this block. Now where is this line in this block? It is here. Okay, so from this purple line to this purple line, the block is moved vertically. So this vertical movement in the block or the vertical distance in between the blocks, that vertical distance is considered as a throw. Okay, so block is moved horizontally as well as vertically. So here in the red color, horizontal distance or horizontal displacement is there. In the green color, the vertical distance or vertical displacement is shown. Now when block is moved horizontally and vertically, oblique displacement will be there. म्हणजे हॉरिझॉन्टली आणि व्हर्टिकली जर ब्लॉक मूव्ह होत असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी थर्ड डिस्प्लेसमेंट सुद्धा तयार होत असते, ऑब्लिक डिस्प्लेसमेंट. ओके, so that oblique displacement is considered as a slip. So here the line which I have marked in the brown color, that displacement is considered as a slip. Okay, the vertical green color displacement is considered as a throw, and the horizontal displacement which here marked in the red color, it is considered as a hue. So here hue, throw and slip are the displacement distances in the fault. Okay, so the meaning of all these points which we have discussed now. So this first is the fault plane. The fault plane means where the block is moved relative to each other. That surface is considered as a fault plane. Next, head means the angle made by the fault plane with the horizontal layers. That angle is considered as a head. Hanging wall means the block which rests above the fault plane. That block is considered as a hanging wall. The block rests below the fault plane. That block is considered as a footwall. Up throw side means the side which moves upward direction. Down throw side means the side which moves towards the downward direction. Hue, throw and slip, these are the displacements. Hue means it is a horizontal displacement in the block. Throw is the vertical displacement in the block, and the slip is the total displacement, means oblique displacement in the block. So these are the 3 displacements or distances formed in the blocks due to the faulting. म्हणजे faulting झाल्यामुळे या ठिकाणी 3 टाइपच्या डिस्प्लेसमेंट्स तुम्हाला तयार झालेल्या बघायला मिळतात. ओके, सो this is the regarding with the terms or parts of the fault. Okay, so have you understand which are the important parts? Have you understand? Yes or no? Please give the reply.
Yes, sir.
Okay, from girls, have you understand? Because if you not understand this part, you can't get the types of the fault. जर तुम्हाला हे पार्ट्सच लक्षात आले नाही फॉल्टचे तर पुढचे त्याचे टाइप्स तुम्हाला समजणार नाहीये. ओके, so have you understand all these parts of the fault? Some girls, have you understand? Yes or no? Please give me the reply.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we are going to discuss the types of faults. Okay. In the fold, we have discussed the different types of the fold. Now today we are going to discuss different types of the faults. Okay. Now here different types of the faults are there. First one is the normal fault. Second one is the reverse fault. Next one is the step fault. Another one is the host. Another one is the Graben fault, etc. Okay. So when you see any textbook or reference book, you can get too many types of the faults in that textbook or reference book. But here we are going to discuss only the important types of the faults, okay, which are important from our civil engineering point of view. Only those types we will discuss here, okay. So here, first type of the fault is the normal fault, okay, normal fault. Now, what is the meaning of normal fault? The fault in which the hanging wall has moved downward with respect to the footwall is known as the normal fault. ओके, म्हणजे या ठिकाणी नॉर्मल फॉल्ट म्हणजे काय? when the fault is there, okay, we now we have to know what is the meaning of hanging wall, what is the meaning of footwall. Okay, so here when you look here, this is the fault plane. Just wait, I will use another color here. Okay, so this is the fault plane where the block is moved relative to each other. So on this fault plane, this is the block which rests above the fault plane. Okay, so this block is considered as a hanging wall and this block which present below the fault plane, so this block is considered as a footwall. Just a minute, I will write here footwall, and this is the hanging wall. Okay, so what is the definition of normal fault? The fault in which hanging wall has moved downward with respect to footwall. म्हणजे जर hanging wall खाली जात असेल footwall शी related, then such a type of the fault is considered as a hanging normal fault. Okay, hanging wall moves downward direction, footwall moves towards the upward direction. So such a type of the arrangement is there in the fault, then this type of the fault is considered as a normal fault. Okay, now this fault is also known as a gravity fault. Okay, now this fault is also considered as a gravity fault. या faultला gravity fault म्हणून सुद्धा consider केलं जातं. The normal fault usually have high angle dip. Okay, so head angle is greater than 45 degree. Okay, now which angle? So just wait, I will draw here. So this is the fault plane. Okay, and it with this horizontal layer, one angle is formed. That angle is considered as a head angle. Okay, so that head angle is always greater than 45 degree here. Okay, high angle dip means it is greater than 45 degree. Now in this type of fault, the beds are stretched after the faulting. Beds are stretched. Now what is the meaning of beds are stretched? Beds are stretched means when the faulting is there, the beds are stretched means just minute before the faulting, this block is look like this, means this is, just wait, I will draw you like this. Okay, before faulting, these two blocks are like this. Okay, so these are the layer present in these blocks. Okay, but after the faulting, this distance is increased. Okay, horizontal distance is increased. Before the faulting, this horizontal distance is from this to this point. Okay, but after the faulting, it is increased from this to this. So beds are extended. Okay, so it is considered as a beds are stretched after the faulting. Horizontal distance will be increased after the faulting. Okay, so this is considered as a normal fault. Only you have to remember the points. Hanging wall moves downward, foot wall moves upward direction. Okay, it is also considered as a gravity fault. Angle made by the fault plane with the horizontal layer, that angle is considered as a head, and it is always greater than 45 degree. And due to this normal faulting, the beds are stretched, means the horizontal distance will be increased in between these horizontal beds. Okay, so these are the important points related with the normal faults. Excuse me. So this is the again one in diagram which shows the normal fault. Again, I will show you here the different parts. So this is the fault plane. Okay. Okay. This is the fault plane, and on this fault plane, this block is resting above the fault plane. So this block is considered as a hanging wall. This block is below the fault plane. Okay, so this block is considered as a foot wall. Okay, so due to this displacement, three displacements are formed. Okay, so here this horizontal displacement is considered as a head. This vertical displacement is considered as a throw, which I have marked here in the green color, and this total displacement, okay, which I have marked here in the brown color, this total displacement is considered as a slip. Okay, so before faulting, these beds may be from this to this distance, but after the faulting, the horizontal distance is increased from this to this. Okay, and the angle made by the fault plane with this horizontal layer, that angle is always greater than 45 degree. So this angle which I have marked here in the white color, it is greater than always 45 degree. Okay, so these are the types of the these are the some important points which are regarding with the normal fault. Okay, so actually in the field, the normal faults are look like this. Okay, so when you look here, these are the images of the normal fault. Now here, have you recognized the fault plane? So here, this is the fault plane. Okay, here this is the fault plane. You can clearly understand, and here this is the fault plane. Now, how can you consider hanging wall, foot wall? So here, the block which rests above the fault plane, that block is considered as a hanging wall. I will write here HW. Just a minute. HW. This is the hanging wall. Here, this is the hanging wall. And here, this is the hanging wall, the block which rests above the fault plane, and the block which rests below the fault plane, it is considered as a foot wall. So here, These are the footwall. Okay, hanging wall and footwall. Now the hanging wall moves downward direction. आता hanging wall downward direction ला move झालेली असते. आता ती कशी recognize करायची? Now here look at in this fold, this layer. Okay, so this layer is here and here this layer is here. So this block is moved downward direction and this block moves towards the upward direction. That's why this type of the fault is considered as a normal fault. Okay, now here you can consider this layer, okay, and this layer. So this layer moves downward direction, this layer moves towards the upward direction. That's why it is again type of the normal fault. Now you can consider another layer in this third diagram. Just wait, I will show you with the another color. Suppose this black layer and this black layer. Okay, so this black layer is towards upward side in the footwall and the hanging wall it is towards the downward side. So this is again type of the normal fault. Okay, so these are the images of the field photographs regarding with the normal faults. Now next type of the fault is the reverse fault. Okay, reverse fault. Now what is meaning of reverse fault? The characters of the reverse fault is completely opposite to the normal fault, like we have discussed in the fold anticline and syncline. Likewise, the characters of the normal fault and reverse fault are completely opposite to each other. If you prepare one type, you can automatically prepare the second type because the characters of one type is completely opposite to the another type. So in the reverse fault, what are the important points regarding with the reverse fault? So the fault in which the hanging wall has moved upward direction with respect to the footwall, then it is considered as a reverse fault. It is also considered as a thrust fault. The angle made by the fault plane with the horizontal layers, that angle is always less than 45 degree and the beds are shortened after the faulting. Okay, so just wait, I will explain you here again with the help of diagram. So here this is the fault plane where the blocks are moved relative to each other, which I have marked here in the white color. That is the fault plane. So the block which rests above the fault plane. So this is the fault plane and this block rests above the fault plane. That's why this block is considered as a hanging wall. Okay, this block rests below the fault plane. That's why this block is considered as a footwall because it is present below the fault plane. Okay, now have you recognized the displacement? So when you see the displacement of the block, now here this hanging wall moves upward direction and this footwall moves towards the downward direction. That's why it is considered as a reverse fault. And when you look the angle, this angle which is made by the fault plane with the horizontal layers, this angle is always less than 45 degree as compared to the normal fault. In the normal fault, it is greater than 45 degree. Okay, and here in the reverse fault, it is less than 45 degree. Now, the beds are shortened after the faulting. Now, what is the meaning of this? The beds are shortened means distance will be decreased. Now when you look here, the original distance before the faulting will be from this to this point, but after faulting this distance is reduced. Okay, after faulting the distance is from this to this point only. Okay, so it is considered as a shortening of bed. Beds are shortened, means the horizontal distance will be reduced in the reverse fault. We have seen in the normal fault that the distance, horizontal distance between two blocks after the faulting is increased, that we considered as a stretched. Now here opposite to stretched, shortened means distance, total horizontal distance after the faulting will be decreased. Okay, so these are the important points regarding with the reverse fault. Yes, we will see another diagram here. Now here, this is the again one of the important diagram related with the reverse fault. Now, which are the points? So here, when you look here, just wait, I will use another color. So this is the fault plane which I have marked here in the red color. This is the fault plane on which we can see the displacement between two blocks. Okay, so the block which rest above the fault प्लेनच्या वरती जो ब्लॉक रेस्ट झालेला असतो, सॉरी येस, फॉल्ट प्लेनच्या वरती जो ब्लॉक असतो त्याला आपण हँगिंग वॉल म्हणत असतो. जो ब्लॉक फॉल्ट प्लेनच्या खाली असतो त्याला आपण काय म्हणत असतो, फुटवॉल म्हणून त्याला कन्सिडर करत असतो. हँगिंग वॉल अँड फुटवॉल. नाव लुक दी डिस्प्लेसमेंट ऑफ दी ब्लॉकची डिस्प्लेसमेंट कशी झालेली आहे. हँगिंग वॉल वरती गेलेला आहे आणि फुटवॉल या ठिकाणी खाली आलेला आहे. आता हे कसं ओळखलं, हँगिंग वॉल वरती गेलाय, फुटवॉल खाली आला आहे. तर या ठिकाणी हा ब्ल्यू कलरचा लेअर बघा. सी केअरफुली दी ब्ल्यू लेअर in this block. This blue layer is towards upward side. In this block, this blue color layer towards the downward side. So if such a type of the displacement is there where the hanging wall moves upward direction and footwall moves towards the downward direction, then such a type of the fault is considered as a reverse fault. Okay, now you can see that another feature, that angle. So this angle, let's wait, I will put another color. So this angle which I have marked here in the white color, this angle is less than 45 degree in the reverse fault. Okay, and before and after faulting. Okay, so just wait, I will use. So this is the total distance. This is the total horizontal distance after the faulting. But when you remember or when you consider the original distance, this will be from this to this or more than this. So the distance after the faulting will reduce. So it is considered as a shortened the distance. Okay, so these are the points regarding with the reverse fault. So we will see the actual field photographs of the reverse fault. So here, when you look here in this diagram, you have to first recognize the fault plane. So here, this is the fault plane in this fault, and here this is the fault plane in this fault. Okay, now when you look here, the side which rests above the fault plane is the hanging wall. So here it is hanging wall, and the block which rests below the fault plane is the footwall. So the hanging wall and footwall I have mentioned here in this field photograph. Now when you look the displacement between two blocks, दोन ब्लॉक्सच्या मधली जर तुम्ही डिस्प्लेसमेंट जर बघितली, consider this layer, just wait, consider this horizontal layer and this horizontal layer. Now here in this hanging wall, the block is moved upward direction. Here this block moves towards the downward direction. That's why it is type of reverse fault. Now here you can consider this layer, this light layer, or you can consider this white layer, or you can consider this black layer. These layers are moved upward in the hanging wall, and in the footwall, these layers are moved towards the downward side. Okay, that's why it is the type of the reverse fault, normal fault and reverse fault. The characters in normal fault is exactly opposite to the characters of the reverse fault. Okay, so have you understand what are the characters of normal fault and what are the characters of the reverse fault?
Yes, sir.
समजले काय सगळ्यांना समजले काय? Have you understand what is meaning of normal fault and what is meaning of reverse fault?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the another types are there in the faults after the normal fault and reverse fault. Okay,